The core ring of the cosmos, this is called nucleus, was the first developed mathematically. My dear, Galileo is an important one and see the space by its telescope. This is only? No. Some physical laws help us to discover what is inside the earth, what around. Measuring unit of the distance of the universe. Do you know what this unit? Yes, my dear, light year. Light year, it means the distance covered by light in 1 year. It's the most often used when expressing the distance between stars and the other galaxies, because the universe is wide and deep and we can't measure by the normal method. We need light year, which equal 9.467 by 10 power 12 kilometer. What about to travel to crossing star? Crossing star is the other theory. This is occurred by Chamberlain and Moulton. Both are two scientists explain what happened for crossing star. Let's fly. This is happened in 1905. Ready? Assumption of the crossing star. The solar system was originally the sun. Huge star approached to the sun. This star attracted to the sun to it slowly and slowly, which led to the great expansion in the part of the sun facing it. This expanded part was exploded. What happened? It led to gaseous time was formed a great lens from the sun. The sun escaped from the gravity of this star. The gaseous line started to condense and condense. This has happened due to the attraction force. Then it called forming the planets. This is the beginning for the forming a planet. My question, why the sun escaped from the gravity to crossing star? Directly, we can say due to explosion of the expanded part of the sun. My dear, don't forget that Chamberlain and the Moulton planet smell hypothesis was proposed in 1905 by geologist Thomas Chamberlain and astronomer the first Moulton to describe the formation of the solar system. Also, it's a very important theory to explain that. It was proposed as replacement for the Laplace variation, which you studied before. This has happened in 19th century. The theory was based on the idea that a star based close enough to the sun early in its life to cause tidal, also forming on its surface, which along with the internal process that leads to the solar prominences cause the material to eject repeated from the sun due to the gravitational effect of the passing star. My dear, two spiral-like arms would have extend and extend for the sun. And while most of the material would have the fallen back, part of the wood remain in orbit. This orbiting material would cool, condensed, and the numerous small bodies that they are termed planet small and a few large protoplanets. Their theory proposed that these objects collide over time. The planet and their moons were built up with the comet and asteroid, being the leftover described the spiral nebula, which was studied for the Laplace. Photographed at a like observatory were the thought to possible be view of the other suns undergoing this process. Wonderful. These nebula are now known to be galaxies. rather than developing solar system. Also, in 1917, James Hopwood James urged that only very closely approaching a second star was necessary to eject the material instead of the requiring solar system. My dear, this is not only. There is a lemon should also tell me about the column material drawn out from the sun would be beside the rather than condensed. By this time, theory had mostly fallen out favor, and in solar material had been pulled away. How that? Yes, it's pulled away from the sun with the forces necessary to account for the angular momentum. Jupiter, yeah, the material would have controlled and continued out to the solar system and earlier. Through temporal and molten theory, no longer accepted the idea of the planet smell remains in modern theory. It's a wonderful theory, but also it tells us about the person in our solar system. We think, yeah, the solar system is the standard model for the formation, including the Earth, by crossing a star. In this model, solar system formed for the large rotating cloud and instead of the dust and the gas called nebula. Also, it was composed of the hydrogen, helium, created shortly materials. This has happened after Big Bang. I think you remember Big Bang, which told us about the formation of the solar system. My dear, the nebula began contracting may have been about target of the shock wave a nearby supernova. A shock wave would have also made the nebula rotate as the cloud began to accelerate. When it accelerated, the angular momentum, gravity, and the inertia flattened into protoplanetary disk. This protoplanetary disk perpendicular to the axis of rotating. A small perturbations due to collision and the angular momentum of the other large disappears, create the means by which a kilometer-sized protoplanetary began to form. Forming what do you think? Yes, orbiting the nebula of the center. Both of them, nebula and the crossing star, have some looking from each other. The center of the nebula, not having much angular momentum, collapsed rapidly, the compressions heating it until nuclear fusion of the hydrogen into helium began. After more contraction, T-Theory star ignited and evolved into the sun. This means what? The outer part of the nebula gravity caused the matter to condense around density. My dear, the dust particle and the rest of the protoplanetary disk began separating into rings. And this process is known runaway accelerated, which you studied before. Successfully large fragments of the dust and debris collapsed together and form a planet. Now the Earth starts to be formed. The particles fly, move, condensed and collected, not for the Earth only, no, to form a lot of stars, a lot of the planets. This is the beginning for the formation of our solar system. We arrived to the end. I hope you to understand the lesson. I hope to see you soon. Thank you and goodbye.